Great art. Okay, how about now? Now we have sound. The hope is that I have fixed the static. We just do not know. While we figure that. Me. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, we are setting up. Right. It's coming up on that 6 o'clock time. Almost ready to start live. Cameras. Good. Setting up. Now, sometimes you just boom. Lots of adjustments. All right. It's coming up on that time for the one person in this show right now. Am I still getting static? Am I still getting static on my microphone? Hope is that I'm not. Never know. All right. Well, time like the present is 6 o'clock. That means it is time for critters and carving. That's right. Tuesdays, I'm doing critters and carving and working on my best podcast. No static. Okay, I did a bunch of weird stuff on the computer side of things and click-clacked it, and so that is great to hear that there is no static. Alright, tonight we are doing critters and carving, and I am going to be working on snakes and talking about snakes, all the snakes that live out here in the desert. And when I first decided that I was going to do snakes, something that came up was a talk about honey badgers and how honey badgers exist in the desert. Something I knew about, but something that was there all the same. And so tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Still not great at zooming in on this. Right here is a blank of a honey badger, and I'm going to be giving this away actually. During this segment there are going to be 4 different questions, and as individuals you are going to be, if you want to participate, putting in your answers in the chat. And I have the answers written down on this piece of paper. No, I didn't just share them to you. And they're arbitrary, they're weird. So whomever gets the closest to the answers that I have put down will be getting this honey badger. Because I don't think the snakes are going to take that long to carve, so after I finish carving them, I will, on the honey badger. Alright, so I'm going to get started and move this camera to... Again, my name is Jacob, Afraid Designs, and we are working and talking with snakes tonight. If you're just joining, frog. A frog? No, that's a honey badger. It's a good guess. We are working with snakes. So, this snake right here. And sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera. The snake right here is not any snake in particular. It's a pretty simple design, and I'm going to be using these for the rooks in my chess set that I last week we were bishops, a couple weeks before that we were on the queens. I'm kind of working through that. I haven't decided on the pawns yet, but that will be, later down the line. So tonight we're going to be carving snakes. I'm just going to be rounding these out, and I'm going to be talking about them. Also, I want to shout out to viewer Tim Thomas for getting me this sweet and groovy glove to protect my fingers from... Oh, the music's loud. Alright, we're taking down the music. Thank you for letting me know. Alright, we'll just have that little whisper in the background. Oh, I thought you were asking about parts of the play. Oh, you studied up, huh? No, these are going to be some strange questions, and I wish you the best. And if people decide that after the live stream, basically you'll have the entire time to guess, and release whoever got the answers correct. Alright, but thank you, Tim, for getting me this sweet glove, protecting my fingers. Not bad now, but last week I got a little gash on my finger pretty much 5 minutes after I stopped streaming because I got a little too carried away. So now we're just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna be wearing this sweet glove that is completely knife proof, I think. And I'm just gonna start talking about snakes. That's what I do. Oh, this is interesting. I think it might be also just like a bad habit former if I get used to carving with this, and I can be less conscientious of what I'm doing with my blade, but also I just don't like cutting my fingers. So that is that is also a good thing. Oh wow, we're already 5 minutes in. Okay, I'm going to give just a few introductions about snakes, and then we are going to get to our first question. So, snakes, they live out in pretty much any kind of climate all over the world. They live in water, they live in mountains, they live in deserts, and they're a very adaptable creature, but their adaptations vary from species to species. And they also vary from environment to environment. But today I'm going to be talking about snakes in the desert. And snakes are reptiles. They're cold-blooded. They range from anywhere from like 2 inches long to anacondas, which are like 12 feet long. They range in size, shape, and color. The really big characteristic about snakes are that they are kind of these long, spindly, worm-like creatures, and they also hunt and feed on small prey. As far as I am aware, there are no snakes that are also herbivores. Heard of one? If one exists, it is an oddity. Okay, with that, because I have a lot to do tonight, I'm going to jump into the first question of the quiz. Now, these questions are going to be oddities as well, just like our little snake buddy. So, answer them to the best of your ability. And I might even give the first answer out afterwards, because I think it will give a lot away about how I am expecting these answers to go. Oh no. Alright, I forgot to add a microphone. Okay, so the first question of this is, which is not a snake? And I will give all of y'all a few minutes to answer that question. And taking this picture, you can look back at it anytime you want, but which of these is not a snake? At 6:10, I will be going over the answer. Back to the stream. Okay, I'm gonna keep on carving. So we have our little cold-blooded friends out here, and snakes are pretty much just a lizard without any legs, but they do actually have claws, because all reptiles do have claws that will protrude out of them at certain times in their life. They're small. It's usually to hold on to things. It's an involuntary action, but they do exist. It's usually in courting and mating. Yeah, they do have claws, because all reptiles, even if it is a snake, they still have claws. That is a key characteristic of the reptilian species. And snakes, because they only have that little claw that they can't really control, they have to no. I forgot. No, one of them is a snake being carried away. Because they don't have claws, they have to adapt in different ways. And so one of the ways is their ability to bite. All snakes have the ability to bite, and their bodies are basically this interlocking, weaving muscle that goes the length of their entire body. This gives them some offense and defense, because their ability to scrape, claw, is not present. Even smaller snakes still have a good amount of ability to basically coil around their prey, whether that be small insects or animals, and a lot of the large have venom. But here in California and all over the North Americas, there are not that many venomous snakes. There are rattlesnake, there are water moccasins out on the East Coast. Out here we have Mojave greenbacks, which are so venomous. But other than that, we don't really have that many snakes that are venomous. Oh, whoa, it's 6:10 already. Okay, this is going to be a rushed one. So the answer to the first question is they're all snakes. It was a trick question, because worms are snakes too. I'm not being very literal. So for those literal people out there, I'm just doing whatever makes me laugh. Okay, moving with the stream. And that was a freebie. All of you get to understand what we are doing here. Okay. Yeah, it's a trick question, huh? But the real answer, if we go back to that page, is this one right here. This worm is not a snake. This is a worm. This is Snake, who is an assassin in a video game, and this is still a snake, but it's got a bird connected to it. So I guess the most right answer was Tim with the worm. Okay, congratulations, Tim. You have 1 point. I will not be giving away any more of the answers until tomorrow. They might also get weirder from here. All right. And so the snake that we're going to be talking about most tonight is the rattlesnake. It's one of my favorite snakes out here in Joshua Tree, and it does a lot for our environment. Rattlesnakes can be pretty intimidating. As you may know, they have that rattle that they use to fend off predators. They use as a warning. It's a fear response and also a defense response. It's not always necessarily because they are scared of what's going on. Sometimes it's just them wanting to let the creatures around them know that they are near and to be aware of them, because they don't want to get stepped on, trampled on, or anyone coming into their space. The rattlesnake's rattle is not just like a bunch of loose beads. Am I in frame here? In this, sorry. It's not just a bunch of loose beads at the end of its tail. It is actually keratin that has interlocked into little joints. And when the snake rattles its tail, those little joints kind of rattle back and forth and hit. It's kind of like an exoskeleton shell that creates the enclosure for that rattle. And when that all bangs together, that's what creates that rattling sound. And oddly enough, because rattlesnakes are pretty feared animals, and they can be they're obviously dangerous too, but a lot of people will kill rattlesnakes on sight, trying to get rid of them. And because of this, rattlesnakes are starting to adapt in Arizona, where they do not have rattles anymore. So they're starting to mutate because survival of the fittest rattlesnakes out there in places where people are killing off a lot of rattlesnakes are the ones that do not have rattles. And so in some places, rattlesnakes have mutated, and there are gene pools of rattlesnakes that do not have any rattles at all. And this is problematic because they are one of the more dangerous snakes that exist in our world in abundance, or exist in North America in abundance today. All over the world, there are more venomous snakes. There are more snakes that can kill you faster, but I'm from, that is pretty much the only one that we have to worry about, and it does have an alarm system. If for some reason you do come across a snake while you are out in the world, a rattlesnake, the chances are that it will not bite you. They're not looking to bite humans. They are a very opportunistic hunter, and if it's not something that they can eat, they don't want to waste their venom on you. And so if you do start to hear one rattling, don't get closer to it. Just take a breath, back away slowly, and give it a good amount of distance if you still need to go that direction. Rattlesnakes, depending on the size of them, can strike up to 6 feet away from... Yeah, leave those snakes alone. They can strike up to 6 feet away from themselves, and they're also really good for our environment, especially around barns and homesteads like that, because they are one of the main killers of rodents and pests, and they're basically like spiders with an alarm system. And when I was working in outdoor education, something that a lot of kids would talk about was worrying that in the night a snake would come into their sleeping bag and try to curl up with them because they are cold-blooded animals, and they will they will sense the warmth of their sleeping bag and want to be in that space. That's not really something that happens as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure why, but my guess is that they can smell the human and they smell your movement and they see your movement, and they are not looking for that because you are a large creature and your scent is not the same as snake buddies, and they know that they cannot eat you, so there's not really any point to getting anywhere near you. They have a very strong survival instinct, and that is a bad way to survive, is getting that close to humans. Now, they will, if you leave your sleeping bag unattended and go for like a day hike or something, they have been known to crawl into sleeping bags, especially when it's a bit colder out, because it's a nice warm cave if they are not able to make it back to their burrow for some reason. So if you do decide to leave a sleeping bag unattended, be sure to shake it out. This is not just with rattlesnakes, this is pretty much with any snakes or critters. I do love a good sleeping bag. So best just to pack it up, but sometimes it doesn't go that way, and then you gotta shake it out. Alright. Hey, look at that little snake. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame again. I gotta get better at that. Okay, it's starting to take on a little bit of shape here. It's looking kind of cobra-y, which is kind of cool. Just trying to carve this one up. Maybe give it a little bit of a nose. Okay. So, snakes, rattlesnakes. Another thing is, there is this myth that younger rattlesnakes are more venomous than adult rattlesnakes. Either they have a more potent venom or they release more venom when they bite. It's not true that they release more venom when they bite. It's more that younger rattlesnakes haven't learned to ignore threats or avoid threats, and they can be more aggressive and more defensive. So they are more willing to bite. They are more willing to bite. And unlike adult rattlesnakes, they also don't typically control their venom. The venom will always release the same amount, but younger rattlesnakes will typically just go in for the kill no matter what, not understanding that they can't eat a full human. But even a young rattlesnake will not be actively aggressive towards a human. They will tend to avoid them. It's only if they feel. Okay, we are moving on to the second of the quiz questions. This is snake quiz question number 2. So here I moving back on to the stream. Okay. So, avoid the little baby snakes. Big snakes are great for the environment and great for dealing with pests. They can be a bit of a bother when you do have a cat or a dog, and so is it Pliskin or Bliskin. I thought it was Pliskin. That's who you're talking about? Yeah. Yeah, that is Snake. Snake, Pliskin, and Snake from Metal Gear are... Crank up the microphone a bit. Okay. Snake, Bliskin, and Snake from Metal Gear do look a lot alike, but they are separate characters from separate genres of the world. Back over the snake here. Okay, then I will keep track of those answers. Okay, people have their answers in. If you are just joining the chat, the questions that I am asking are based around, I'm going to say that snake is pretty good. Sorry, I got interrupted, but I'm going to move on to the next snake. If you're just joining the chat, tonight we are doing a bit of a trivia competition where if you get all the answers correct, and these are answers that I've made up, questions I've made up, they are arbitrary and based around what I believe, you will be getting a hand-carved honey badger. The honey badger was something that we talked about a couple weeks ago about a mysterious desert creature named the honey badger. And this one is made up of walnut with a line of maple at the top to give it that signature black and white walnut look, or black and white honey badger look. And if you get, whoever gets the most answers right tonight will be getting this sent to them. So, well, it'll be carved. It won't look like this. This is just, but snakes right now. Questions are based around snakes, kinda. Okay, so where was I? What's I talking? Distracted things. Yeah, snakes can be kind of a pest. Rattlesnakes can be kind of a pest if you have some kind of animal. You live on a property where the snakes are getting to the point where they could cause harm to you or your animals, and they can be relocated, but you do have to get them pretty far away. Rattlesnakes tend to burrow in one location and return home. So even if you put them on a shovel and yeet them down the road, they will tend to come back. And so it is useful to get someone who is a professional snake remover to just come by, grab your snakes, and take them somewhere else. Somewhere where they can live happy snake lives and be a useful part of the environment, but not a danger to your household. And if anyone in the chat is ages 20 to 25, you are in most risk of getting a snake bite. And the reason is, well, I'm actually going to talk about the statistic first. So statistically, the most likely people to get bitten by a rattlesnake are males between 20 and 25. And the most likely spot for them to get bit is their right hand. And the belief is, and from reports, is that these men believe that they are faster than a rattlesnake and will be able to reach down and grab it before it can bite them. I don't know why. So if you are between 20 and 25, do not reach down to any snakes. Do not become that statistic. If you are over 25, feel free to reach down and grab a rattlesnake with your right hand. You know, bend the curve a little bit for those 20 to 25-year-old males. Help them out. Where? Slow? Yeah, you might know a 20 to 25-year-old that could possibly get bit by a rattlesnake in slow? We don't know. I wouldn't tell anyone. So, with that statistic under our belts, 20 to 25-year-old males are not rattlesnakes' main eating of. What they prefer is small rodents, mice, voles, and they usually attack these critters when the critter is sleeping. They are not really, they are very opportunistic. They are very plotty hunters. Something about the brain development. yeah, you know, something about the brain development. It wasn't until I was 26 till someone told me not to reach down with my right hand and grab rattlesnake. If someone told me when I was 25, maybe I would have never gotten bit by a rattlesnake. I'm just kidding. I've never been bit by a rattlesnake. I would have told people, because that would have been an interesting day. So they mostly eat voles, mice out here, kangaroo rats. They'll eat scorpions, tarantulas, pretty much anything that they can get their hands on. And for the most part, with the little animals, it doesn't really matter too much with the venom. They kind of just bite them and kill them. It is with bigger animals or with birds that they sometimes are able to get that the venom really comes in handy, where it neutralizes their prey. And so even if it gets away a little bit, it won't get away for that long. Okay, what is going on? All right. Okay. Sorry, a little bit of message. Yeah, so they won't get away for that long. Quick question. Do all the critters rattlesnakes taste like chicken to them? That is a question for later. You might be getting a bonus point there. No, I don't imagine they taste like anything, actually, because for the most part, snakes just, I think they probably all taste like dirt in the outdoors, because for the most part, after the snake bites them, they're not chewing their food. They just swallow the thing whole, and their stomach acid, as it moves through the body, starts to break down the snake, turns it. So unless they're tasting it through their digestion, I don't think they're tasting anything at all. Sorry. Looking at my notes right here. Snakes. Yeah, so they eat those kind of things. Their main predators are birds of prey and other kind of large carnivores. So out here, we obviously have our like delicious, succulent Chinese meal. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Because, as you know, when I am eating Chinese food, I just inhale it whole. If anyone has ever seen me eat Chinese food. Their main predators are birds of prey and other large carnivores. And like we talked about in one of the first critters in carving, it was the roadrunner. The roadrunner is one of its main predators out here, and other large birds like other large raptors that can come from above and just pick up the snake and take it away. And once the snakes are up in the air, they don't really have much choice but to be lifted off and accept their fate. It's the way it goes out in the desert. But snakes do have good hiding places, and These include their burrows, which are holes in the ground, and if they are not able to make it back to their burrow, sometimes they will just go up in trees and basically imitate branches, and that is where they will sleep for the night if it's cold enough and they need to hibernate. I was out in the park one time, hanging out with some friends for my birthday, and I walked off to go to the bathroom, and as I peered my headlight up in my chosen bathroom spot, I was eye to eye, maybe a foot away, from a little rattlesnake head that was looking like a bush, and the snake was completely asleep. A lot of us came by to take pictures of it, and it was just out. It was maybe 10 o'clock at night. It was cold out. The snake had definitely gone into its nocturnal phase where it was just on its life support systems. And yeah, didn't even notice me. Or if it did, it played possum the whole time. Speaking of life support systems and adaptations that snakes have to the desert, is part of their hunting strategy is using the least amount of energy that they possibly can. So that kind of goes into why they in the skyline snakes away, is why they are very opportunistic hunters, why they mostly attack their prey at night. They're not going to be hunting. They wait for something to walk by and strike, is because they need to preserve their energy. So you get that energy, they digest the food, but this is also the way that they get their liquids. They do not drink water. They do not sip from any ponds or water sources. They get their liquids purely from the food that they eat, which is usually those small rodents. Just like many other animals and plants in the desert, in order to save on that precious resource of water, they do everything that they can to get it, and their bodies have adapted to be able to run off a very small amount of it. And they do not sweat it out, it just gets absorbed over time. Look at that, another snake all carved up and into the snakes. Alright, time to move on to the next question. Here's question number 3. Alright, sorry, I forgot to add audio devices to these. Okay, which one of these would be a snake's greatest strength? Would it have laser vision, the ability to fly, arms, or the ability to turn into a kangaroo? Put your answers in the comments below. Let me know what you think, and we will move on with the carving. Doodaloo, laser vision, flight, arms, or to turn into a kangaroo. Okay, continue to we continue to carve away our little snake chess pieces. So, snakes, they're very opportunistic hunters. Sorry if I'm repeating myself a few times. I'm trying to do 3 things at once, and my multitasking skills are not good yet. So I kind of have to go back in my brain a little bit and figure out what I'm doing, and then come back to talk. So, snakes, they are opportunistic hunters. They like to hunt all the critters in their sleep, just like terrible. And the way their venom works is it coagulates their blood. So basically, inside the critter's body starts to cool, soften, it doesn't really. So basically, starts to shut down their organs, and over time, to make it durable. So with small creatures, this happens quickly. Humans, it happens 2 to 6 hours, depending health of the person, heart rate, all. So if for some reason you do bit a snake, things to, or bit by not just a snake, a rattlesnake in particular, there are a few things to consider. First, you don't want to tourniquet area once the venom is in your bloodstream, unless you had the tourniquet on your leg already and the snake bit you and then you cinch down. The venom's in your body. The blood moves through your entire body in less than a minute, and so the venom's already there. A tourniquet's not going to do anything except cut off blood flow to that limb and cause more tissue damage. You don't want to put any compresses on the area, because in those layers of skin, venom will still build up, start to kind of exist underneath your skin. The audio struggle when you lean away from the microphone. Okay, then I will stay really close to the microphone. Thank you for letting me know. So maybe I'll get like a mic for my collar or something. So you don't want to put any compresses on the snake bite. Venom will still live in the dermis and epidermis and upper layers of your skin, and if you compress it, you'll push more venom into your body, and that's not what you want. You just want to let the wound seep and drain out. There's no way to suck out the venom. None of those snake bite kits do anything, so don't waste your time with that. Too loud. Oh my. There's no easy way. So the collar mic might be to go. Fix the static, but not just yell this thing. So you don't want to do any compresses. You don't want to. Is it still too loud? Is that it? It's in volume now. You just want to get out to emergency services as soon as you possibly can, because there are rattlesnakes in an area. Chances are that nearest hospital or nearest medical facility is going to have anti-venom stand. There's only a few cases of rattlesnake bites a year, but it is just something major hospitals close to rattlesnakes will have. There's some place with modern medicine that does not have a history or rattlesnakes in the area. Chances are they will not have it, but they will probably helicopter to you. Single vial of anti-venom for rattlesnakes is quite expensive. I think it was like $8,000, something like that. But not really something you have an option for, because you don't want all the blood in your body to coagulate and die. So you do get bit and you are on a hike, don't start running towards the trail. That 2 hour, 6 hour is not a hard and fast rule. It really depends on your heart rate and how fast your blood and the venom moves through. So if you start to run, heart rate will start to go up, venom will start moving your body quicker, and basically speed up the process of the coagulation of your blood. So just walk out at a calm pace and try to take some deep breaths. Don't get too hasty with it. Dr. Venom, some quiz questions. 18 minutes left. Oh. Right. Sorry, I got a little off track from their hunting strategies. So, when snakes hunt, they tend to hunt at night. Nocturnal hunters, in the day, they lounge out in sunny spots. If for some reason a bird lands right next to their mouth, definitely strike at it. For the most part, hunt at night. They have fine vision, but their main superpower when they are hunting at night. Don't know the movie reference. I will check that out when I finish. Arceus snake. Yeah. Yeah. Talking and reading and talking. Their main superpower for hunting at night is have these sensors underneath their. Last week we were talking about the adaptation with the owls, where they have sonar in their head. Owl snakes have sensors in their nose that heat signatures, and it translates to their vision. It makes them heat vision, so they can see the heat signature till gives them the chance to sneak up without prey ever seeing them, knowing that they are there, because quite silent creatures. They have a very sensitive sense of touch, smell, so as they are moving through environments, they will pretty much adjust their movement to every crevice, every stick, to make sure that they make almost no movement in the landscape that they are in and are not noticed by whoever they are hunting at the time. I'm just struggling again. Is it because I move my head down like this? Oh, sound. It's never easy. Where did I leave off? Move my closer. No internet in the lab. Well, you're going to have to go back a little bit, Bambo, to figure out some of the questions that I'm asking. And you missed the first one, so you're going to have to do your best. Alright, if you're just joining, Bambo, the prize for getting all the questions correct is a hand-carved honey badger that will be sent to you via snake mail. It'll just be regular mail, probably UPS. Anywho, so they have this infrared that they use to move around at night and hunt their prey. Okay, it is 6:46. It is time for the fourth and final question of the evening. Yes, there are only 4. Too much time together. We are moving on to question number 4. So the question for number 4 may be an obvious one, but which is a snake's cheat day snack? Top ramen, ice cream top ramen, spaghetti and chili, or candy spaghetti? Here's some answers to the previous questions. A, B, C. That's all gross. Maybe to you, But imagine it from the eyes of a snake. Eyes and nose of a snake. Alright. Flip through these pages, see where I'm at in my notes. Made it through page 1. That's good. Excuse me. Alright. Well. Moving back to the stream now. Okay, I finished carving just about 4 snakes that I'm working on. Oh, I'm already finding this glove helpful. I get these tiny little spots right here up by the head of this snake. And I'm chipping away, and as you can see, it's getting real close to my finger. This is a very razor sharp blade that I sharpen every time I start this stream, and that would be slicing through the little tip of my finger. But because of that, I can get a good grip on the snake, and I don't have to cut myself. Thank you again. This has been very helpful and nice to my little fingers. All good answers. Dun, dun, dun. Ah, yes, look at that. Another snake. I've been using a Dremel to get the last little details because I'm using a rusty old bandsaw blade because that's my finest tooth one. They are coming out just a little bit rough around the edges, and so I'm using a Dremel with a little tiny piece of sandpaper just to clean it up a little bit. Okay, but before I end, I'm going to work on this so you can see the prize, what it might actually start to look like over time. And then I might ask one bonus question because I do have one more bonus question. Alright. Ah, the honey badger. The secret unknown animal of Joshua Tree that no one's ever seen, but everyone's felt their presence. Exist here in our minds and in our hearts. So we've talked a bit about rattlesnakes. There are a total of 27 different species of snakes that live out in Joshua Tree, and only 2 of them are actually venomous at all. As bonus. Candy's been vote again. Your sugar, or it could be chicken ramen. You only get 1 vote, Tim. Lauren, I hear your vote, but Tim, you get 1. You don't get chicken ramen or candy spaghetti. You get to choose 1. Them's the rules out here in my arbitrary game of talking about snakes. So there are 27 different species of snakes. And because I am not able to memorize that many different snakes, I have them on a list on my Yay. I'm not going to name all of them, just a handful. Okay, we have the Mojave rattlesnake, which actually makes up 7 of those snakes because there are 7 different types of Mojave rattlesnakes. We have sidewinder. Oh, never mind. There are 7 different types of rattlesnakes, and a lot of them are on this list. The Mojave rattlesnake, sidewinders, western diamondback rattlesnakes, southwest speckled rattlesnakes, Poniment rattlesnakes. Those are some of the venomous ones that live out here. And the western greenback rattlesnake, which is not actually a rattlesnake. I talked about that a little bit earlier, but I didn't really get too much into it. So another variation, which is not a variation, of the rattlesnake is the western greenback. And the reason why this is called a variation of a rattlesnake is because they imitate rattlesnakes. The way their tail structure is made, it doesn't have a rattle. They don't have share any genus or species with the rattlesnake, but they do imitate them. They are also quite venomous. And the way they do this is they find rocks around their habitat, and they have a hard tail, and they bang their tail so quickly against that rock that it imitates the rattle, and it will let predators know that they are there, that they mean business, and give them the same scare that the rattlesnakes will give. All right. Oh yeah, this is already looking good. Look at that tail right there. Starting to look like a honey badger. Okay, and then we get into our non-venomous snakes, and the one that is most common out here in Joshua Tree and probably so many places in the West Coast is the gopher snake. It looks a lot like a rattlesnake. It has kind of a similar skin structure. It has that kind of tan with lighter tan lines, but it does not have the diamond face so distinct with rattlesnake. It has more of an oval face, not a snake. The diamond, I should have probably gotten a picture of this, but the diamond shape that venomous snakes usually have is as it holds the space for their venom glands. See a snake with a big, round, flat head. It's usually venom glands live in the upper section of the snake. Else, whereas a non-venomous snake does not have those venom glands. Look. Oh, also while I'm carving, get this badger out. Yep, look at that. Basically the same thing. That. Hey, badger. Okay, we're gonna keep going. We got the glossy snake, which is glossy and it likes to hide in little caves. The California king snake. We have red racers. Those are all over the place. Long-nosed snakes, brown snakes, night snakes, spotted leaf snakes, vine snakes, shovel-nosed snakes, patch-nosed snakes, deer snakes, ringneck snakes, northern rubber boas, mountain king snakes, and yellow-bellied racer. Those are the species of snakes that live out here. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Okay, the last bonus question is, what is the difference? And do not say legs. The answer is not legs. What is the difference between snakes and lizards? That's the question. And I'm not looking for serious answers here. Not looking for physiology. Just looking for what you think I would think is funny. Difference between snakes and lizards. Playing this like Cards Against Humanity. What to do? All right, look at that. Alright, I'm gonna go over, repeat the questions at least. Yeah, in the last 3 minutes, I'm gonna go over the questions again. Alright, question number 1. Which one of these is not a snake? Which one of these is not a snake? Question number 2. Which snake would win in a fight? Which snake would win in a fight? And we have G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, Escape from New York, Snake Plissken, One Piece's Boa Hancock, and Worm Tongue from... Oh, sorry, I got a little loud there. And Worm Tongue from Lord of the Rings. The next question is, what would be the greatest strength a snake could ever want? This would be their superpower desire. A snake would want laser eyes, the ability to fly, arms, or the ability to turn into a kangaroo. Question number 4. What would a snake eat on their cheat day? Ramen? Ice cream ramen? Spaghetti and chili? Or candy spaghetti? And the last question is, what is the difference between a lizard and a snake? What is the difference between a lizard and a snake? Alright, and with that, it is just about 7 o'clock. Oh, thank you, Bambo, for putting all your answers into one category. I will be putting up a video of who gets the badger tomorrow after I go through the chat. And yeah, that is... If you answered 2 times for a question, I'm going to go over your first one unless you put it in a itemized list like Bambo. With that was the end of the live stream. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for competing. If you like this competition format where I have a small prize that I add at some point during the video, let me know, because I had a lot of fun making this little competition and would love to do it again. Thank you for the glove, Tim. This thing was super helpful. I'll keep these fingers safe. I'll never take this glove off the rest of my life. With that is the end of the show. Thanks everyone for watching, everyone for joining, and I will see you not on Thursday because I am busy. I'm not doing Tool Time Thursday because I will be away doing some work. But we will be back Tuesday for Critters and Carving Tuesday next Tuesday. Hope to see you all then. Have a good night.